Hello, hello.
Ingemar.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Welcome to Season 3 of the FNRad Snowboard Podcast.
Okay, perfect. 1 second, please.
Tala in ett meddelande efter tonen.
Hi, this is Sean. I'm not here right now.
You have reached Mike.
Hi, this is Jim. Leave me a message, and I will call you back as soon as I can.
Hi, you've reached Jeremy Jones.
Yeah, I'm going to call you back instead. Sorry, dude.
Hey, listeners. Here we are at the final episode of Season 3 of the FNRad Snowboarding Podcast. Up here in Vancouver, it's been a POW week. We've had a couple of POW days, and it definitely doesn't feel like the end of the season. I'm really proud of what we've done this year. We've had amazing guests, and I want to thank all of them for getting involved with my little project. Also, the people who listen to the show are super rad. I get messages from incredible people every week. So much positivity. It really adds to the happiness in my life. So thanks to everyone who reaches out, and thanks to all you listeners who are telling your friends about the FNRad Snowboarding Podcast. We've got a solid group here. So there is definitely going to be a Season 4. After the Kearns episode, I realized what I want to do, and that is record in a studio setting as often as possible. So I'm going to do a fundraiser party here in Vancouver sometime in the summer or into the fall. And we're going to give away a bunch of amazing prizes from snowboarding companies that are down with the show. The party will fund a road trip in an RV with a portable, proper studio, and I'll get to live the dream, traveling and snowboarding around Canada and the US, talking to the snowboarders that make snowboarding what it is. Fucking stoked, man. This week's guest is Ingemar Backman, one of the biggest influencers of snowboarding in the 90s.
Yeah, we still have snow. It's still snowing, still cold up here.
Nice. Yeah, actually, it's completely clear today, and we got a trace of snow in the city, like just in the city mountains last night, which is nice.
Where are you at? Which area?
I'm in Vancouver, so I go to the 3 local mountains, yeah.
All right.
Did you ever ride, like, Seymour with, like, Devin and those guys?
I've been a few times, like, in Whistler, but
yeah,
just, not that much.
Sweet. Well, first of all, thanks a lot for being on the show. I've been chasing you down for like a year, which is awesome. You're such an icon of snowboarding, and a lot of people are very excited I'm going to be talking to you.
Yeah, I'm not that easy to get a hold of. I'm kind of media shy.
Yeah, so thanks a lot for doing it. That's super cool. I'd love to, maybe we just start by chatting about that iconic photo that most people would know you from, which is that giant backside air. Did you have a injury year the year before?
Yeah, I was in San Diego back then, and I couldn't snowboard for like 3 or 4 months because I had some, I think it was shoulder dislocation or something.
Oh.
And then, I was just there and then getting back together. And then I went from there straight up to Riksgränsen for this event, and I had maybe like 3 days on snow before the quarter pipe.
I don't think anyone would have known that. That's insane, dude. It was just like a combination of a really cool contest, a bunch of good people. The quarter pipe was built really well, and then you were hungry again. You were just like coming back from not snowboarding and
yeah, I was really motivated to ride, and I was actually riding all days before the event. I was really tired, I remember, that day.
Yeah.
Because I was riding from the morning until the lifts were closing.
Oh, wow.
But it was a lot of motivation and also to be able to ride that kind of quarter pipe.
Yeah.
Big thing.
Yeah, so, like, did you just hike up higher than anybody else? How did that happen? It was just so huge. I remember seeing it in lots of videos, all the magazines. It was just mind-blowing.
Yeah, I remember that day, the quarter pipe was like after lunch. So before that, I was hanging out with Peter Ström, and we were free riding around the mountain. And then we came back to the hotel and, having some snacks. And if you hang out with Peter Ström, you always show up late to wherever you go. So then finally me and him came over to the quarter pipe event, and we almost missed the whole practice because we came, I had like 2 or 3 maybe practice runs before the event started. And then, in the practice runs, I tried the quarter pipe, and it was like, I was, dropping in where everyone else was dropping in. And then I made it to the final, and then we had 2 final jumps, and it was just my last final jump. I decided to just try to go as big as possible. So I hiked up, above the in-run, and just took as much speed as I could. I knew that trying the quarter pipe, that big transition, I knew that it was possible to go a lot bigger than I'd been going before. Before my final 2 jumps, then I met another friend, Gregor. I actually borrowed my bigger snowboard to him, and I found him. He was also there, so then I could change my bindings to my bigger board just for the last two hits.
You get into the finals, you find your big board, switch over your bindings real quick, and the board is fast and longer, and you just, that's like a perfect storm. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, that's so. Where did you start snowboarding? Were you in Sweden when you first started?
I started as a skateboarder. So I was skateboarding for a couple of years, and then we had nowhere to skate during the winter. So I was like skiing because I grew up skiing. Mm-hmm. And then since I started skateboarding, then I actually saw somebody snowboard on my local mountain. And then I right away I saw like I have to start snowboarding in the winter. So then I got myself a board and started riding, and that was like the season 89, 90.
Cool. And
I got to buy my friend's old Burton Cruiser 128. And I had I didn't have any snowboard boots. I had like these old snow joggings. But luckily that board had like 3 straps. I had like an ankle strap, so I could still ride that board.
Yeah, was it a swallowtail?
No swallowtail.
Yeah, it had the block chunk tail. Did you ski race in Sweden or?
No, and I was never part of any ski club or racing. It was just growing up in the north where we have some small local mountains.
Yep.
It's like it was something everybody did during the winter before the internet and phones and games.
So is it a couple of years before you start competing?
No, actually the next season I got on the local skateboard shop team, Stalefish, and they had like skateboards and snowboards. And then I got myself a Lamar trick stick 142 for my second year.
Nice.
And then I got more into riding. So it was that season I got a little bit more into snowboarding, and then I decided I really wanted to go to the Craig Heli camp up in Riksgränsen.
Rad.
And it was the end of my second year riding. I got for my mom and dad as a birthday present, like the entry to go to the camp. So then I went to that camp, and then that's where everything changed for me. I really wanted to, focus on snowboarding more.
That's amazing.
Before it was just something to do because I was thinking skateboarding was a lot more fun. So I was just snowboarding just to waste my time in the winter, and then as soon as the snow melted, I started skating.
Amazing. How was that Lamar trick stick to ride? I remember always seeing people that rode those. It looked like it was sometimes difficult with the cutouts. Would maybe dig into the snow.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I could never ride that board now, but I was, getting better in snowboarding. So I didn't know how a good snowboarder would ride. So I went from that Burton board to Lamar, and I became a better snowboarder. Yep. So I could still be learning new tricks, but the board was actually probably really difficult. I didn't think about it. It was just riding it.
Yeah. So after Craig Kelly's camp, do you get a Burton board?
Yeah, actually, after that camp, I became kind of on the Burton Swedish team somehow. I got like a board for it. Actually, I got to buy a board the next season for a half price. So I bought a Micro Kelly.
Perfect.
I got a good board again, so then
Yeah, that would have been a good year to progress. A Micro Kelly. You've gotten to meet Craig Kelly and hang out with some of the pros. At this point, are you focusing on half pipe riding, or are you just kind of everything?
Yeah, no, just riding, because we didn't have any half pipes or jumps. If you build a jump at a ski resort, they took it down right away, and when we went to the Craig Heli camp, they just gave us shovels, so I had to build a pipe. The first 2 days was building a pipe. But the pipe was really fun, so that's something whenever I could ride a pipe, that would be, I would do that. But usually we never had a pipe. We had some jumps we built ourselves.
Yeah.
But jumping and doing tricks was the thing. But since we didn't have that, I learned how to ride a snowboard a lot.
Yeah.
Because if you start riding in a park, you never really get to learn how to use the board.
Right.
So luckily, I had a couple of years. I did most of my time just riding, riding the slopes.
Who was your crew at that point?
I had some friends, local friends, where I grew up riding. We were kind of riding together a lot, a local crew. But I really wanted to, go to places and ride more. So I was the only one from our crew that, went to different events. So then I learned to meet, new snowboarders, and I got new friends.
Yeah. It would have been that Burton board that Kevin Young was talking about.
I think that might have been like 93, maybe 93,
yeah,
something. Because I was in Strien I was already on the Burton Swedish team.
Right.
Then I was in Strien, you have to go there to snowboard for a week.
Yeah.
But then I really, I didn't want to leave that place. I wanted to stay there and ride. So I ended up there for like the whole summer.
Rad.
But what happened is that I had my Burton set up, and I didn't have a car or anything. And so the only way for me to get to the glacier is to hide my board up on the glacier and hitchhike every day. And then one day I came up there and the board was not there. It was stolen.
Oh, no.
And then it was like a bummer. So I went down. But at the same time, the Burton in Norway, they had like a demo that weekend. So I came up to them and see if they could try a board. And I tried the board, and I told them I was on the Swedish Burton team, and my board got stolen, and I wanted to stay there to snowboard the whole summer. And I asked if I could borrow a board somehow, and Burton in Sweden could send a new board, but I couldn't do that. And then I asked Burton in Sweden if they could somehow get me a board, and I said, no, we can't get you any more boards. Like, it's too bad for you, I have no board. And then like, shit, And then actually Daniel got to know it, so he gave me his old K2 board.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So then I had a board to ride, so I went riding with them, and then I actually got a call from Burton in Sweden. They were really pissed off because I was not riding a Burton board.
What the?
And then I was like, fuck them, I'm not riding for Burton anymore, and whatever. I wanted to snowboard, and I didn't care whatever board I rode.
Yeah,
and if they couldn't get me a board and somehow do that, then
yeah, that's ridiculous.
And I wasn't there on a 40 foot. I was just riding and learning.
Yeah,
become a better rider.
Mm-hmm. And so, what's the next move sponsor wise? Who notices you and starts hooking you up?
Actually, that same spring in Strien, the K2 board I got from Daniel, it wasn't the whale board. It was the board he had before the whale board. It was like twice as heavy as any other snowboard. No, I could ride it, but it was wasn't that easy.
Yeah.
But then one guy came up to me, like he had the new H Street snowboards.
Rad.
And he hooked me up. Like he gave me a brand new H Street snowboard. It was like super light, and it was like a twin tip board, and it was like the first twin tip board I think I ever seen.
Rad. And
it was super fun to ride. So I got to ride that, and then I was kind of riding that board, but they didn't really have a team or anything, so it was just me riding that board.
Did you keep any of your old boards?
No, I think I kind of gave them away, my old boards.
Yeah.
Now I wish I had some of them left, but it was,
yeah.
When you're in the middle of everything, you don't really care about keeping.
Yeah,
boards.
Totally. Yeah, that H Street board, they're very rare. Those were cool. I never even saw one in real life, actually.
I think that thing just became maybe evil, and
yeah.
H Street wasn't.
Yeah, that's right.
Wasn't happening.
Yeah. So after the H Street board, what do you remember what you had next? And trying to remind you of every single board you had. It's crazy.
No, but I think I was like on a shop sponsor called G-Spot.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was like from Sweden, from Stockholm, and they were selling skateboards and snowboards. They had, 8th Street, but they also had Type A.
Oh yeah.
So then, I was looking for boards to ride, and I got hooked up with a Type A board instead. So and I was riding that board.
Those were good boards.
Yeah.
Are you doing kind of the local contest series the whole way through?
I was kind of mostly in Sweden, but by the time after that stream camp, I got the Type A board. Then I was doing the World Cup, traveling in Europe doing the half-pipe World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first year, I didn't have any money really. I had money to go for one trip, but I happened to make it, in the top. So I made prize money in each event, and the prize money took me to the next event. So I could go through the whole season with the, coming, top 16 or top 10 to just get some money to go to the next resort.
Wow, that's awesome. And who are the guys that are winning those half-pipe events in Europe at that time?
No, that was like when Terje was dominating. He won everything. He had like 93, 94, 95, yeah.
He was just unbeatable at that time, hey?
Mm.
And so is there rivalry between like the Swiss, the Swedes, Norwegians, or is it just snowboarding's just so young at that point, everybody's just kind of going to these events and riding together and having fun? Yeah,
it was all like we riding together. And you had some riders you were hanging out with because you liked them more.
Yeah.
You like everything, but it was just a new thing, and everybody, was new sport. And
at some point, do you move to the United States?
Yeah, during that World Cup thing, I was also going to US Open, and I think I went to Canada for some event there.
Yeah.
And I went to some slopestyle event in Hunter Mountain, and it was, like one trip to the States.
Yeah.
But by then I wasn't on any snowboard team. I was just riding for the V-Spot shop sponsor.
That's pretty cool to travel the world on a shop sponsor. Like you say, you're using the money from your winnings to go to the next events. Yeah. That's really cool.
And also, we traveled like 7 guys together, renting a van and staying at some cheap places. And, whenever we traveled, we, stay at some friends' places, or somebody knew someone we could stay, and it was really easy living.
Yeah, like it was a bit of snowboarding, a lot of lifestyle, just partying. Did you guys try surfing and do like the whole California thing, or?
No, the first trip it was just the East Coast.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
So just skating and snowboarding, was brought my skateboard with me.
Coming from Europe to the East Coast, what did you think of the mountains there?
Yeah, we were kind of just going to the event, so it was, going to a half-pipe or slopestyle event.
Yeah.
And mountains, they were like the same as, Scandinavia kind of.
Yeah.
Like Stratton and those. It wasn't any, big mountain riding.
Right.
But anyway, we've been a lot. I've been, a few times in Alps before. 2 seasons riding the World Cup, and those were at the same places where it's really good free riding and big mountains.
Yeah. So were you starting to get a taste for big mountain riding?
Kind of, but at the same time, I was riding a freestyle board. So whenever I went big mountain riding, it was fun, but I couldn't really get into it.
Yeah. I had a year or two where I just couldn't make my board work because I had the wrong board, and I didn't like powder. It's just not fun.
Yeah, no, I was more. I was more with it like that. It was like I wanted to ride good parks and skateboarding and half pipes, and the powder was me. It was it was fun, but it wasn't. I'd rather find a good tabletop.
Yeah,
and learn some new tricks.
Yeah, powder day for me meant we built a big jump into powder.
Yeah, and that was fun, but you couldn't land.
yeah, you couldn't. It was crazy. I can't even imagine thinking that nowadays. I just love free riding and powder. I still love jumps and park and good groomers, sure, but I can't imagine hating on big mountain riding. So what's your first major board sponsor?
I think it was that season where I went to US Open for the first time, and I went to the whole World Cup. Then that spring, it was a big event in Riksgränsen, like 94. It was called the 55 DSL. You know, it was a half-pipe contest. It was bigger. You know, they even flew up a vert ramp with helicopter, and they had like music. It was like the first big, you know, how would say, the rockstar event in snowboarding. You know, before U2 and Aaron Style and everything. But, you know, Aaron Style was also like 94, but it was like had everything. And that spring, then I went there in G-Spot. My shop sponsor was organizing the event.
Cool.
And they had, you know, all the riders coming over, you know, everyone from like the Type A riders to like Peter Line, Jamie Lynn, Jeff Brushy, like Terje, all the European riders, even all like the film crew riders. They all came to Riksgränsen for the event.
Rad.
And and it was like the half-pipe event there. And then I ended up third place in the pipe. And also there was like bigger contest in the pipe, like highest there. I remember it was me, Jeff Brush and Terje. We were all trying to go as big as possible, doing mute stiffies on the frontside wall. It was like one place you could go big, and it was a frontside wall.
Yep.
And somehow I ended up winning the highest there.
Rad.
Over, like, you know, those like my idols. And after that, then I got put on the Type A team, because I was riding the Type A board.
Yeah.
And I think it was like Nate Calder and Rogers. They were there, you know, at the event as well. And I got to meet them, and they liked me, so they gave the green light to get me on the team.
Amazing. So you get a big box of boards from those guys coming over from America?
Yeah, no, it's more like I anyway get the boards from my shop sponsor, and they're selling the boards. It was more, I got on the team, and then, you know, I wasn't maybe a pro rider yet, but I was on the team and, you know, becoming maybe, you know, pro rider.
Yeah, that was a cool team.
And I think that summer I went to Mount Hood. You know, so much happened in a short time. But I think that summer actually I went to Mount Hood. I went riding. I had the Type A board, and I went actually to San Diego to hang out with, you know, Type A guys, and I was, you know, staying in La Jolla with some of the ride guys and Type A riders.
Rad.
You know, they had a house there, like Dale Reber and, you know, Nate Cole, and I remember Rowan and Jake Bletner and Russell, and, you know, Brushy was there, like not far away, and I was hanging out there for a couple of weeks, and then that's when I actually got, you know, as a pro rider, and they started paying me.
Nice. That lasts a year or two, Type A, or is that?
Yeah, then it was like, I remember that summer, then the new season started. So then I was, as usually, doing the World Cup, you know, fighting the half pipes in Europe. Let's see, and that season 94-95, I ended up doing the first World Cup in Lux, and I won that half-pipe event.
Nice.
And the weekend after that half-pipe event was the Aaron Style in Innsbruck. And I wasn't invited because I wasn't a Burton rider, and also they didn't know me really. But my friend Johan Olofsson, he was on the Burton team at the same time, so he got, you know, invited, and we were all going there to, you know, cheer him on.
Yeah.
And actually, a friend of mine tried to get me in because since I won the last, you know, the half-pipe event the weekend before, but it was, you know, already full of 16 riders. But I was there, you know, checking out the practice, but I knew I wanted to ride the event, so somebody actually didn't show up or got hurt. So then they actually came up to me and said, Ingemar, yeah, you can join the event.
Awesome.
Then I also got, you know, straight into competing at the Aaron Style.
Those events, I remember the Aaron Style being a really, really big deal.
Yeah, I remember also, it was also fun because me and Johan and Terje, it was us three made it to the super final.
Nice.
Yeah, and somehow I ended up winning, but so it was a really big break for me, you know, winning the half-pipe World Cup event the weekend before, and then the Aaron Style. But then the Aaron Style win wasn't that nice because, you know, Terje, I shouldn't have won because Terje had a way better trick. But I don't know, somehow judges gave me a higher score. And it was like in Innsbruck at the Burton hometown.
Right.
And Terje, as the Burton rider, he actually did a lot better trick, and he ended up second.
And was he upset?
I don't know. He was probably stoked for me, because he was a stupid good rider, and he stomped the perfect at cab 7.
Oh wow!
And I couldn't even drop and switch to that jump.
Right.
So it was fun to win, but I didn't want to talk about that win after, because it was like, sure, I won, but I feel like I shouldn't have won. But anyway, that's kind of still a big break, because people, you win around style. So that was it was helping me.
Yeah, of course. The judging in those early events, it wasn't always that great, right?
Yeah, because I remember I wanted to do a backside 7 in the nose bone in the super final. I did actually one in the qualification or somewhere.
Yeah.
And I slipped on the takeoff, so I lost my balance.
Yeah.
So I got the in the grab. I lost the balance. I had to change to mute grab in the air because I didn't have the balance. And when I landed, I had to do revert, so it went down to 900. But I didn't put the hands down, so maybe somehow judges thought that was a cool trick. But in my mind, that was like a big mistake.
That's awesome that you won that, though. Like you say, that's a big help for a snowboard career.
Because just getting invited to event is not easy. But once you've been there and you won, then for sure you'll get invited back.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So that's a big part of where, I mean, your career is already taking off, but to win those contests back to back, you must have been pretty stoked for the rest of that season.
Yeah, and I was still doing the World Cup, but I went over to the States for some event.
Yeah,
we had a few weeks between the events. So then the Taipei guys, they hooked me up with Whitey to go filming. For my kind of like first time to go filming for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Awesome.
So then I went with him, and then I filmed the Substance part.
Awesome.
And that was like a video that actually video came out in the middle of the winter. So it was just filmed, after New Year's for a few weeks, and then that video part came out.
When do you start filming with MacDog?
Actually, the same year I was like doing that part with Whitey, and then I went I kept on doing the World Cup. Went to Japan and to like Europe and to Canada and to all these events. And I actually did really good in the pipe contest that season. I remember like the first time I actually beat Terry in a half pipe, because he won every single event he went to.
Nice.
And nobody I think ever beat him for I don't know how many events, but it was a lot of events in a row. But in one event I managed to beat him. He didn't do a perfect run, but at least he stomped his run and I stomped mine. But I was like kind of at the peak of my pipe riding.
Rad. Oh, that must have felt pretty good, man.
And also, so after last event, I was like unofficially also winning the World Cup that year.
Amazing.
But somehow, like, because I checked the ranking list after the last big event, and I was ranked number 1. But somehow, when it officially came out, I was ranked number 3.
What? Behind who?
And it was actually what happened. It was that it was one guy that was at the board member of the ISF, the International Snowboard Federation.
Yeah.
He won the World Cup somehow.
What?
Yeah, but they changed the ranking points from a big Masters event in Japan, which I did really good in that event, and he did really bad. But it's a Masters, so you get a lot of ranking points if you do good. But somehow after the season, they changed that. They took away the Masters status and made it to normal World Cup, so that meant my ranking points wasn't that big anymore.
How frustrating.
Yeah. Yes. After that, World Cup thing was over. It was maybe like in April. Then I actually went to film, the last springtime with MacDog, and then that's when I filmed the
Meltdown Project.
Or was it the story? Yeah, the melting.
Was it Meltdown Project and then Simple Pleasures? I think so. Yeah, I think it was
the Meltdown Project.
The Meltdown Project, you got Holiday in Cambodia as the opening song, and there was this cliff.
Dead Kennedys
Yeah, Dead Kennedys and that step down thing that you're hitting. You're just spinning off it so smooth.
After the contest was over, then actually I stayed in the States and I went with him filming for many weeks. We went on all these spring places.
Yeah, your part in that was epic. And then from there on, you were a big name in magazines, photos, videos.
Yeah, I think also that was like the first season as a sponsored rider where I had like not really any big injuries. That's why I could do like the whole World Cup and do the filming with Whitey and MacDog. So I was just snowboarding the whole season.
It's really nice to not be injured, hey? Do you go directly from Type A to a Lion?
Yeah, no, it was Atlantis.
Oh, it was Atlantis.
Yeah. I think everything happened the season 94, 95. What I told you, and also the change from Type A to starting up Atlantis Snowboards in the middle of that season.
Yeah, how does that happen?
I think the main reason was that the guy behind, Type A Snowboards, and he was also doing the skateboarding 8th Street Plan B, Mike Tenasky. He died in a car accident.
Oh man!
And that was before that season, and he was kind of doing Type A, and together with another guy, Mark Tanabe, and since Mike Tenasky was no longer there, then it kind of like the Plan B guys they kicked out the Type A guys.
Right.
The guys, and they wanted to do it themselves.
Right.
And I was already on the Type A team, riding with these Type A guys, and I was staying with them and everything, and they took care of me. So for me, when they were gonna be kicked out, I was in the middle. Like, should I keep on riding for Type A, but what about these guys?
Yeah.
And they were also like, they didn't want to quit snowboarding, so they were talking to me about, let's start the company together, like a new company.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had the choice to like stay with Type A or keep on going with the guys that were standing behind me.
Yeah.
So I decided to do that. It wasn't an easy choice, but it was the right choice. And then we started Atlantis, and it was going really good.
Yeah. Yeah, Atlantis had a lot of hype behind it. People were into it. And so you had a pro model on Atlantis. Did you have a pro model on Type A?
It was actually coming out. And at the same time, then, that shit happened with Type A, so then people got fired, and then I decided, that we started a new company, so then my pro model never came out. So they had to take away my name from that board.
Yeah,
somehow.
Yeah. And so your first pro model comes out on Atlantis, and that year is like Simple Pleasures or something from MacDog. And again, you've got just a crazy great part in that.
Yeah, but it was actually in the Meltdown project. I'm riding the Atlantis board.
Oh, wow.
Because we got samples really fast. And I might have a shot or two with the Type A board that we shot like in the winter.
Yeah.
And I had some days filming. But most of the part is with my first Atlantis board.
That's sick. So you're a part owner in the company at that point?
No, I was never like a part owner. I was just being part of developing the company.
Yeah.
They made sure to pay me good, but I never was involved in the business side.
Right. Oh, that's nice, because being involved in the business side really can really bum you out as a snowboarder, take up a lot of your time.
Yeah, and I wasn't into anything about business then. I was just snowboarding, so I was just happy to ride a good board and also being part of the whole process of how it was going.
Yeah. Yeah. How? Who else was on that team? Daniel Frank was on that.
Yeah, it was only me in the beginning, but I knew that Daniel was not happy with K2.
Right.
Because we're doing the World Cup as he at every event. So then I was talking to him that we're starting a new company, and maybe he wanted to be on the team. And then he came down to meet the Atlantis family, and he was stoked, and then he just jumped on the team, and he got the pro model out. So I think the first time we got the boards out, we had my model and Daniel's pro model.
Amazing. He was on fire at that point too. The two of you guys just you made the brand. Obviously, that was when he started doing rodeos and
and he was filming with MacDog, and I was filming with MacDog, and he did all these new tricks with the rodeos. And
are you competing while you're on Atlantis, or are you now starting to transition into filming more?
I'm doing both, but I had like some injuries, every single year after that. So did some competitions, but I never really had time to film any real video part. Some filming, but not too much. And at the same time, it became all these, stadium events, indoor contests and quarterpipe events and big air events. It was pretty fun to go to all these places around the world to compete in those. And it was like new.
Yeah, that's amazing. What board were you on the huge backside air?
Atlantis. It was because that was 96. The season 9. It was season 95, 96. It was like the spring of 96.
Killer.
So it was Atlantis board.
That was like the highlight of that era of snowboarding.
Yeah, and it was never really any quarterpipes before. It was actually, I remember before that event, I saw Transworld Snowboarding. I saw they had like a quarterpipe session with like Terry and Jamie Lynn and Peter Liner, some guys, and they were riding a quarterpipe in Tao, and it was like a big quarterpipe, and I remember seeing that, and they were like going like 4 or 5 meters over the lip, and it was like crazy. I remember because we were riding half pipes.
Yeah.
We were doing like the big airs, like 3 meters. So, but I never got to ride a quarterpipe like that. So I was just looking at the photos, and then it came to experience, and I actually got to ride a big quarterpipe myself. Because before that we had some quarterpipes sometimes, but it was like, quarterpipes were the same size as a half pipe or smaller.
Yeah.
It's like wind lips.
Yeah. I remember feeling that. Like, if we build bigger stuff, the airs can get way bigger. That had happened in BMX with Matt Hoffman, and it was happening.
Yeah, quarterpipe.
Yeah, and it hadn't happened yet with skateboarding. That would be Danny Way.
Skateboarding, it came after.
Yeah.
The skateboarding, they, started to think about building bigger quarterpipes or ramps or.
It was definitely Danny Way, right? So, he was on Type A, wasn't he? He had a snowboard on Type A.
Yeah, he was on Type A. Yeah, I met him a few times. When I was in San Diego, I was hanging out a lot in the Plan B warehouse, skating the mini ramp, and he was there sometimes skating the vert ramp.
Rad.
Yeah, but also he was so good at skateboarding, so whatever trick he wanted to do, he could do it on the skateboard.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to go with the bindings and the soft landings. He could actually, skateboarding things and get, and maybe, get the same feeling of, doing the airs and stuff. So for him, it's not the same as maybe other people that finally, maybe if they're a skater, they go to snowboarding and they actually can get the feeling of doing tricks they can't do on the skateboard.
That really is a big part of snowboarding. So many people that I've talked to were just so excited when you get on a snowboard and you can do all the tricks that you wished you could do on your skateboard, and you can do them like the first day. If you're used to skateboarding where you try a trick over and over and over and over and then you fall and you get hurt, snowboarding was just like a dream. So getting back to Atlantis, I think Kevin Young eventually gets on there with you guys, right?
Yeah, but at the same time as kind of Atlantis is dying because and Atlantis kept on going, but we all left Atlantis because the company became somehow bankrupt because it was like a lot of things happened. First, it was Daniel. He decided to sign for Solomon because he was going to go to the Olympics, and Solomon, it was like a ski company, so they wanted to have him on the team, so they offered him a lot more money.
Yeah.
So he left, but we still had a good team. But then we had the factory problem because we had the factory Surf Politics in Canada who built all our boards all the time. They were going to go bankrupt, and we were doing really good. So we decided we wanted to buy the whole factory.
Right. And
we thought we were going to be able to. So we went to court and everything to get to be able to buy the factory. But somehow we lost that case, and it was a big case. So we didn't have any factory to build the boards. So then a new factory started up in San Diego. It was like an old friend of Mark that I was doing Atlantis with.
Yeah.
So he started up a new factory, and he was going to save us to build all our boards. But he was starting up, so we had to prepay everything.
Oh, God.
So we paid for everything at Atlantis board to help the factory. And then it was time to get the boards, but the boards never came. and he left, and the factory went bankrupt.
Oh.
So the season started, and we couldn't send any boards to anyone. We didn't have any single board.
Oh man.
So it would be really tough for us to kind of restart the company. So then we decided they decided to, like, it's no longer any use to keep on going.
Yeah.
So I think somebody else, got the name Atlantis, and they kept on running it for a while, but we all left. And then I decided to start Alliance Snowboards at the same time.
Yeah, because Atlantis when it got bought, the guy who bought it, he was a notorious just brand destroyer. He would he would get them built really cheaply and just take boards that used to have a good name and just like run them into the ground. So you made the right call, and the Alliance boards came out, and everybody was so excited. They were like the really hype board for that year. So how does that happen?
Oh, it was like me not having actually I was riding Atlantis boards, but I wasn't going to go with the new Atlantis guys.
Yep.
But then we had actually the same guy that was backing us with Atlantis. It was like a Japanese guy called Mike Miyazawa. He has been behind a lot of companies. So he was backing Atlantis. He was backing Atlantis Snowboards, with the, could prepay the money so we could start that company. And he knew that when I was no longer there, and he really wanted to, do business with me and have, sell my board. So he decided to start a company together.
Cool.
And he was, paying for it.
Yeah. So this is where you become
a
businessman.
And then I also became a part owner. Me, Mike, and a guy called Gregor. Gregor was the guy behind G-Spot, my first real sponsor.
Cool.
So he was, selling the Type A, he was selling the Atlantis, and he, selling skateboards and snowboards. So us three together started Alliance Snowboards.
Amazing.
It's a lot thanks to Mike, and he's even been, behind, GNU Snowboards and Libstech, and, when they started, he's been in the business for so long time, like supporting brands.
Not Mike Olson, a different Mike.
No, Mike Miyazawa, but he was, he's been supporting, he was supporting them when they started.
Oh, that's amazing. What a good,
so he's been, he has the good snowboarding business in Japan, and he really supports snowboarding and skateboarding.
That's dope.
All the way through to the companies that are starting up.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome.
So that's why we could start right away with the Alliance Snowboards.
Who picked the team? You would have picked the team, obviously.
Yeah, I wanted to have a good team, but also people I knew.
Yeah.
So it was, in the beginning it was only like few guys, but it went really quick, and we had like 8 guys on the team.
Cale Stevens had a board with you guys, right?
Yeah, it was like me, Cale, and John Summers.
Yeah.
We had pro model, and then it was like Jacob Peterström, like Todd Slosher, Theodor Kuhlberg. But no, we were like 7, 8, 9 people on the team.
That's a killer team too.
Babs, Sean Baptiste. Babs, he was from the beginning.
Oh yeah,
it was actually me and Babs, because right away from when we started, he was also on the team.
Yeah, and Babs was on another Surf Politics built board. Those the A boards, right? Because they were built out of Surf Politics.
Yeah, I think it was running like Nidecker.
Okay, yeah, Nidecker.
Yeah, no, he was one of my favorite riders. So once we started Alliance, and we got Babs on the team, then it was like, with me and him, then it was a really good start, I thought. So then it went really good from there.
Yeah, it kicked ass. You were a really influential rider to a lot of people. Once you started Alliance, did you start taking more of a team manager kind of role?
Really, I wasn't really into being a team manager, so it was like me, Gregor, and Mike. And Gregor, he was the guy that had to get shit done. He had to make sure to get the graphics and the team to the right places, and so like he was like doing that part.
Awesome.
But at the same year we started Alliance Snowboard. We started We Clothing. And later it's called the WeFC.
Yeah.
So it was like a clothing brand, and it went really good. So just after a couple of years, like 4, 5, 6 years, that was like going off. So then Gregor went, full time working with a clothing company because it became really big.
Yeah, I forgot about We. That was huge. They're still going now.
Yeah, it's still going. But now, everybody left. So now in the last couple of years, it's not what it used to be.
It's not what it
was. Like the first 10 years, maybe 15 years, it was like good. But
it was so solid.
It had the peak.
Yeah.
It had the peak like 10 years after it started.
It had a really beautiful aesthetic, and it really felt like a nice high-end fashion clothing company. So eventually, and I can't even imagine how this would happen. So now you're a businessman because you're helping run these businesses. How do you come to own a ski resort? Or do you guys own it, or do you just manage it?
We are planning to own it soon, hopefully soon. But this is our third season, so it's the end of our third season, and we just jumped straight into it and kind of renting it. But now we are running everything, so it's only us doing everything, and it's going better every year, and we are learning also what we want to do, and we get a lot of happy customers, and they come back with more people every year.
Awesome.
So now we are thinking about how we want to do it for the future, because we want to be the owner of the mountain if we think long term.
Yes.
But anyway, it's only us there running it, so it's our own ski resort.
It's incredible the stuff that I've seen, like just the social media stuff that I see. It makes me want to go there really bad.
Yeah, it's a different resort. I can imagine if you have like 3 old snowboarders that can have free hands to do whatever they want and run a ski resort. It becomes a little bit different.
Yeah, man, it sounds like a dream. So who are the 3 guys? It's you, Ingemar,
me, Johan Olofsson, and Jacob Söderqvist. Like it's also old pro rider.
Of course,
us 3.
So
we knew each other for like more than 25 years, and we've been snowboarding together, since we were kids, and now we haven't been seeing each other for like 10 years that much. So, but then we got together to take over this project.
That's incredible. So who found the project?
So it was actually another friend of us that we knew, like a snowboarder from Finland. He was the operator of the resort before us. So we were all there, checking it out. We got invited to go there riding, and we got to know the people, the crew, even the owner of the whole land, the mountain. But this guy ended up not running the resort that well, so he got kicked out.
Oh, man.
And this happened in November. So and then they had no one to run the resort. So the owner, got to know us. So he actually asked us first, like, if we wanted to just take over the project.
Cool.
So we didn't have time to think. We just had to do it or not do it. So we just decided to try it out.
And and Johan had a kid last year. Do you have a family as well?
No, I'm by myself, but I still have a sister and my dad and my mom, but I don't have my own family.
Right. I'm just imagining you guys as, pro snowboarders who settle down and start running a resort, eventually buy it. Like, it sounds like a movie. It sounds like a lot of fun. And from, like I said, from what I've seen, it looks amazing. And there's a lot of listeners of the show that should make a trip specifically to go.
Yeah, they should. And they should come in because we have like 3 big holidays. We have the New Year's, Christmas holidays. We have the the winter holiday, and then we have the Easter holiday.
Yeah.
And between all the holidays, we are only open during the weekends. So that means we have like 5 days. 5 days every week. We have to have our own private resort.
Oh my God.
So we just can go turn on the lift. Go with the snowmobiles, go riding. We keep all the slopes. Not groomed. So whenever it snows, we can go power surfing in the slopes, and it's fun.
That sounds incredible. And there's a full resort. Like, you've got a hotel, and which has a bar, obviously, and
it's not that big, but it's actually the mountain. It's to be in Sweden, it's pretty big. It has 15 slopes, and like a few lifts, T-bars, and it has a big building with like a shop and a restaurant and a bar and a nightclub and a like a sauna area with a spa, and it has like the place to stay is actually a hostel. So it's like a hostel with like maybe it's like 22 rooms. We can be like 60 people or even more in there. And then we have a caravan area where we can have up to 600 caravans. It's like it was built like in 1990, so it was like built really for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we have potential to have a lot of people coming over.
That's so fun. Well, we got to get a crew, a huge group of us to come over and go shred that. It sounds incredible, dude.
Yeah, you should. You can ask anyone who have been visiting us. They all had a really good time. And usually, it's good riding too, but even if the riding is not perfect, it's still a good time.
Yeah, Johan was saying that he does mostly pow surfing now.
Yeah, he doesn't like bindings. Whenever, sometimes he goes to bindings, but then he starts swearing, he doesn't like those things. I understand him, because I've been into pow surfing like the last 3 years, and it's really fun. So I can, the more you go pow surfing, the less you want to go with the bindings.
Do you do no rope, no bindings?
Yeah, just dump pad and boots. No bindings.
That's so dope. So are you guys going to run it like a little different than a regular ski resort? Are you putting on events and things like that? Or is it just at this point, it's a small resort and just keeping
it's still in the startup. Like we have like one big event every year. It's called the Svanstain Tree Ride. We take everybody there, and they have to come to a secret location, and they're gonna go down, one at a time, and the fastest down wins. But then we have like style points. You can give away like 5 seconds in style points, and I'm the judge. If somebody does something stylish on the way down.
Oh man, that sounds awesome.
And that one has it's skiing, and there's a division like snowboarding, and there's also power surfing, and then have different runs, and then it ends up with a Chinese pulling downhill for power surfs.
Yeah,
all the power surfers, they have like a fastest one down.
Yeah, all at the same time. That sounds awesome. When is that event?
It's usually like middle of February maybe. This time it was like 10th of February, but sometime in the middle of February. And we have like live bands playing, and we have good parties, and it's a good good feeling and good food, and it's like the whole weekend it's good from arrival to leaving.
All right, well, I know what I want to do the middle of February next year. I got to start saving now and get a crew together. We'll come over. And
it will be good times.
That would be the time to come and check it out. Maybe come a week early and stay a week after or something. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah,
because that time is between the winter holidays and New Year's holidays. So we have all the open during the weekends. So we have all the weeks to have to shred and ride with friends, and then when people visiting, we have start the lifts and go riding together.
That is a dream come true. That's amazing, dude. I'm so stoked that you three guys are doing that. That's, one of the places where the soul of snowboarding is still like very, very much alive. Did you watch some of the Olympics?
Yeah. I like to watch like all the snowboarding events. Ever since I kind of stopped competing, I still watch all the big events, like in wherever it is, like in States or America or Japan or the Olympics or US Open or Iron Style, because cool. I usually check the webcast or live feed.
So what do you think of the state of competitive snowboarding right now?
It's been like the last 3-4 years I've been more into watching the halfpipe.
Yeah.
Before it was like slopestyle. It was fun to watch, but I've been a little bit tired of watching slopestyle like the last maybe 4 or 5 years. Ever since like Haller and Torsten Horgmo and Eero Eppola and all those guys were competing. It's been kind of going in one direction.
Yeah.
So it's not as interesting to watch anymore. But the pipe, I've been stoked to watch the half pipe the last couple of years.
It's just insane now what they're doing. It's nuts.
Yeah, but and the slopestyle is like if they build a different course, it's fun to watch, but you never see a different course. You know, maybe a feature that's different, but nobody's hitting it.
Right.
But since it's the same kind of setup, whatever. If you see the first contest of the season, you know what you're going to see every single contest. It might be the same in pipe, but in pipe, I don't know. I enjoy a little more the feeling of when you see the people go big in the transitions.
I don't watch any really competitive snowboarding because I just get frustrated and discouraged. Like I couldn't do any of that.
Yeah, did you watch the Olympics?
I saw highlights. I saw a little bit of, you know what I mean? Like it was impossible not to see Reds run in the slopestyle, which was creative.
Yeah, I was watching every single qualification to finals.
Yeah.
But actually, the best trick I saw in the slopestyle was the Red Garage front of that transfer. He did in the middle of the run at the jib feature. That was like easily the best slopestyle trick that was done.
Yeah, right.
And in the pipe, it was like Ben Ferguson's after fake. Most of them was like those two tricks were top best tricks done during the whole Olympics.
Yeah, I noticed both of those tricks for sure. The air to fakie was just...
Yeah, but I wish you could see more of those things. But, it's fun when you see them, but it's not... They're rare.
Yeah, I think the thing is that people have to think strategically. Like when I think back to like half pipe competitions, like when Jimmy Scott could win, right? If you ever watch an old Jimmy Scott run, like it was really technical but very low. He had figured out the point system, right? And he would work the point
I was competing with Jimmy Scott, and he always did like 3 more tricks. When the pipe was over, he did 3 extra tricks. You have to, 3 hand plans or something.
Totally. So like you're going, I remember seeing that and being like, boo, that sucks. I'd rather see Palmer do like 3 big airs than Jimmy Scott doing. Yeah,
I remember it was like in the States when I started competing, you were not allowed to be upside down in a pipe.
Right.
So remember Jimmy Scott learned to do a McTwist with the hand plant.
Yeah.
But just with the hand in, then it was legal if you put the hand in. But it was just a hand touch.
Would he put the hand touch in at the end or in the middle? I'm trying to think.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
Like McTwist, but he was kind of such a low McTwist that the hand was close to the lip. But when it was touching the lip, it was not a McTwist, it was a legal trick.
Yeah. That's just nutty, right? And I hate to shit on Jimmy Scott. He's actually a really nice guy, and he technically was a good pipe rider, but it just seemed... So what I'm saying is that's kind of what's coming out, too, in snowboard half-pipe competitions still now. Like, you don't see those beautiful, creative tricks because they have to spin. They have to. If you want to win, you want to beat Shaun White, you're going to have to be spinning and flipping every single hit of the pipe. Yeah,
but then sometimes you have sometimes judges, they understand, so they can put like a guy like Danny Davis in first place. That happens sometimes, and he does switch backs of the run, or maybe backs at 3.
Right.
And it's good to see but it's too bad not more people are seeing that he can win with those tricks, because he should win.
Right.
And then it should be more, that should push the pipe riding to more people doing it. You see few people doing like a backside 3 sometimes in a run, and they can get good scores, but it's like one trick, and it's one out of many riders that do it.
Yeah. Snowboarding's just gotten to where there's so much money in it, you have to put it on the line. I don't know. The soul of snowboarding was probably biggest during your era. Like, style pushed the progression every year.
Yeah, and also all the sponsors back then, when it was between, let's say, 95 and 99, it was big events, and they were all putting up $50,000 at first place every single event. It's a big, it's a quarter pipe, it's a, some event in the city, and it was all about the show. So it was the riders came there and did whatever they wanted to do, and it became more a show than to be a contest.
Yeah.
And the sponsors were happy. They just wanted to have snowboarders doing a show and doing tricks, and the crowd were stoked.
Yeah, totally.
But then that kind of died out when it became, after Olympics, it became too much as a sport.
Yeah.
And then the big sponsors didn't want, they were not sticking around. It was car sponsors standing in line, sponsoring every single event, with big prize money.
Yeah.
And I think they liked snowboarding because it was like it was. And then when it became too serious as a sport, there was no more money anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's kind of like the mistake snowboarding made, that wanted to become more, as an Olympic sport. Then they lost the sponsors.
Yeah, FIS taking over for the ISF was a big, that was pretty much the end of a lot of that. More of the soul of snowboarding being in those events.
Yeah, it was compared to other sports and not being its own sport.
Yeah, exactly. You and I were lucky enough to be there before it was that.
Yeah, so it's still going on, like in the background, here and there. Like wherever you travel, you're going to see, the real snowboarders and like the people that really ride for right reasons, or for that. But it's not shown as for the public.
Right.
And like it was in the 90s, it was like shown all the way from the top to the bottom, like snowboarding is snowboarding. And then now it's still there. It will always be there, but it's not. It's more like it's in the background.
I can't tell you how rad it is to talk to you, and how thankful I am that you did it.
No, thank you, and good luck with everything you're doing.
Oh, thanks, man. All right, guys. FNRad shoutouts this week to Ingemar Backman. Thanks for doing the show, Ingemar. After we recorded, he sent me a Facebook message. I'm just going to read it out here. One thing I forgot that I feel bad about. When talking about the best tricks done at the Olympics, I forgot the big air. Torgeir Bergrum did the sickest switch backside 5 method. That, together with Ben's air to fakie and Red's frontside air transfer, are the 3 best tricks at the Olympics. Can you mention that? Thanks. What a dude. I want to take time to thank Murray Fraser, who owns the Boardroom Snowboard Shop. Go to boardroomshop.com and save 5% off sale items with the offer code FNRAD5 at checkout, or use FNRAD10 to save 10% off anything that's not on sale. So thanks to everyone at the Boardroom Snowboard Shop for supporting the 3rd season of the FNRad Snowboarding Podcast. What more can I say about Rob Dow and Pepe Hansen at Wired Snowboards? Rob has been a trusted and invaluable advisor about all things FNRad, and he's been busy building some of the most incredibly fun riding boards you can buy. I love my Wired snowboards. So you guys should go to wiredsnowboards.com, use the offer code FNRAD, because that saves you 10% off on an amazing snowboard. Just do it. I got a box of stuff yesterday from Shane at Tribute Board Shop in Nelson. He also sent me some music that I'm going to be using for season 4, and we're going to be working together for sure. So go to the tributeboardshop.ca. Thanks to Brian Shaw at Dakine for hooking me up with some sweet Dakine outerwear. Also thanks Mike Costigan for an amazing Dakine backpack that I've used like 1,000 times already this year. Thanks to my Rocha Daly for the 6 Spy goggles, and congratulations on your continued success at Spy Optics, dude. Thanks to Steve Hare at Burton Canada. Thanks to Mike Strato at Vans. You know what? Do yourself a favor. Get Vans high standard boots. Buy them at the Boardroom Snowboard Shop. If you're like me and you like to ride a little bit of everything, those boots rock. Go to intuitionliners.com and buy some custom heat moldable boot liners. They're worth every penny, and Crystal is a gem, the girl who runs Intuition. Thanks to Craig Hussey at Saks Underwear, and special thanks to Evan Cam and his band Lazy Ghost at his music label Heat Rock Studios for the song Under the Credits. I've been using that for 3 years, and thanks, dude. I'm thanking my wife and my 2 beautiful children. I love you so much, you guys. And a big fuck yeah to Sean Stewart Kearns, who opened my eyes to how I want to do my podcast and how I want to live my life. Make sure to come back next December for another season of the FNRad Snowboarding Podcast, brought to you by Eric Charlson and his fictional production company, Bike Room Productions.